What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Erin, and this is Erin on Demand, a place for entrepreneurs and content creators looking to build your brand, business, and impact. And today we are talking about the lessons I've learned in my first year of entrepreneurship. Now, I started Erin on Demand, my digital marketing and video production company, in June of 2018. So I have been a full-time entrepreneur for a little over a year. It's been about a year and a half, but 2019 was my first full calendar year as an entrepreneur. And honestly, I feel like in January is really when my business started to take shape. And so those first 6 months were kind of me experimenting, getting my feet wet. I started my YouTube channel in December of 2018, just to give you a little bit of context. So really in January of this year, everything pretty much began to come into form for Erin on Demand. So I learned, oh my God, you guys, I learned so much this year. So much has happened this year. I will be doing a vision board update very soon. It has just been the craziest, best, most exciting, busiest year I have ever had in my life. And I learned a lot in this time. And so I wanted to share my top lessons that I have learned as an entrepreneur this year. So the first lesson is being adaptable. And this is huge in entrepreneurship because you start your business and you've planned and prepped and done all of this work before you launch, and then you launch and things may take shape completely differently than what you've prepared for. Being adaptable is huge for me because I started Erin on Demand with the intention or with the thought that it would be mainly a video production company where I essentially help people and small business entrepreneurs figure out ways to use video in their marketing. And that's still something that I do, but video and video production has taken a major backseat to branding and storytelling in other ways that my business has really transformed into. So definitely being adaptable is a huge lesson that I have learned this year. The second lesson that I have learned is that you have to have tough skin. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, for the super sensitive and emotional people who take offense to every little thing. You really have to build some tough skin. And I'm not saying that being sensitive and empathetic and sympathetic is not a part of who I am, but there are certain situations where you just can't let your feathers get ruffled. And I have really, really learned how to not hold people to certain expectations, especially family and friends. Like, that can be a huge thing that can make people feel some type of way, but really it's so important to lose those expectations from people who are close around you, because maybe they don't want to support you. Maybe they, want to use someone else for a similar line of work that you do or whatever. But those are things that we really just cannot take offense to. And so having tough skin, not having too high of expectations of people around you, and kind of just keeping business and pleasures as separate as possible is a huge thing. A huge lesson that I have learned. Kind of branching off of that tip of having tough skin is having boundaries, whether that's in the form of being at a family function or a friend get together. So like, for example, being at a family function or a friend's get together, a lot of people see what I'm doing because it is public, and they'll ask me their opinions while we're having drinks or while we're at a wedding or at a family reunion, and they're trying to pick my brain out in public. And it can be very difficult to know when to set boundaries for certain people in certain situations. And so for the most part, when I'm out in public just trying to enjoy personal time, I always encourage people to email me or to discuss it during business hours. Can we set some time on the calendar? Just so that, one, I'm not being rude, but also I'm setting boundaries, because a lot of times when you're in this space of of having creative content and really being outward facing with what you do, it's very easy for people people get naturally excited to see you and to get your opinion on certain things. And so I love that people love to talk to me and get my opinion. I think it's amazing, but I also have to protect my time and my energy, especially when I'm trying to have fun or just engage in quality time with family and friends. And so I really set pretty strict boundaries on that, as well as boundaries in terms of if you are a content creator, what you are and aren't willing to share. And so for me, there are certain things that I'm just simply not willing to share on camera, or I just don't want to share on camera. So kind of understanding where to draw the line in your content, but also in your life, when people are trying to kind of pluck at you for information, or use your time that you've designated for personal time for business. And that's just unacceptable for me. The next thing that I have learned is to document everything. And I know this kind of counteracts what I said before, but you can document everything. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to share everything. So I started the year off really strongly journaling, and I kind of fell off a little bit, but when I go back into those journals and read what my day looked like, even if I only wrote a paragraph, or even if I could just write a sentence every day, kind of recapping what the day looked like, I have learned to document as much as possible. And even sometimes on my phone or on my computer in the little camera, I will just record a little debriefing of my day, so that way I have documentation of how I'm feeling in certain moments, what I'm thinking in certain situations, where I'm at, what happened today, like just little things. And I do share a large portion of, my day to day on Instagram stories, on YouTube, but I think documentation is just such a powerful tracker of our progress. It makes it so easy for me to self-assess, to see how far I've come or see how not far I've come, and what I can improve on. So I would say definitely document everything. It's just, it has been so much fun for me to know that what I am doing is having an impact. And if I didn't pick my camera up early on in entrepreneurship, people would not be able to see how far I've grown as well. And you guys take so much pride in my journey. So I am a firm believer that it is so great to document everything, whether it's for yourself to look back on, or, however much you want to share with the public to see. Next thing is help, and getting help when you need it. And this is something that I have no issue doing because I know that I can't do it all by myself. And so I don't even really try to do it all by myself. And if there's somebody who I think really can get the job done in a way that is just as good or even better than I can, I will definitely ask them for help. But even without that, even without me reaching out, there are people who have approached me about being a virtual assistant, or about helping me edit, or about, different things that they know I probably need help in and trying to fill a hole. I would say definitely really sift through the people and see, kind of see what their intentions are and see what they're about. I definitely do my research, but it does help to have help. And that's just something that I know in the beginning stage of entrepreneurship, it's like your baby. It's like letting a stranger literally hold your baby, and you're trusting them. You don't know if they've ever held a baby before. You don't know if they know that you just don't know how they're going to do. And so it can be scary. It's definitely a risk to have people help you. But I have learned that it's just, entrepreneurship is about taking risks. And one of those things is delegating, getting help, and figuring out how to manage multiple things at a time. And, having people help you do that. Next thing is following up. And I have tremendously learned the value of just following up in this past year, whether that be someone that I had a previous consultation or strategy call with, or a previous client that I've worked with, or I don't know, just anybody who I've kind of built some type of rapport with, I really try my hardest to follow up and see how things are going, and not even just in a businessy like, hey, do you have some more business for me, but more in like a, hey, I just saw your daughter graduated, tell her congratulations, I hope everything is going well, let me know if you need me to update anything from our previous projects, and I hope you have a happy holiday. Like whatever, just something to kind of keep you at the top of their mind, so that way if another opportunity does come up, I have priority. I just have learned that following up and just continuing to build those relationships is just so key in building your business. So the next thing that I have learned in this year is negotiating. And this is like, oh my gosh, negotiating is so important in entrepreneurship. And I have learned to aim higher, err on the higher side, and let them negotiate down. So if that's the case, sometimes I have a hard stop on my price, and it's like, this is it. This is as low as it can go. Okay, so this book, Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It by Chris Voss. I have talked about this book on my channel multiple times. It is a great book. It gives you some different negotiation techniques, like tactical empathy by addressing the other person's pain points and kind of using that to your advantage. He talks about silence. I mean, honestly, every interaction in general as an entrepreneur, just as a person, is some level of a negotiation. And this book really breaks down the true meaning of negotiating. And so it's not always, you know, in the form of money. Negotiating can be in the form of your role in a project. It can be in the form of time that the project will take. It can be in the form of a lot of different things. And this year has truly taught me like what it means to negotiate as a business owner. And so maybe I'll do a full video on negotiating and kind of break down some of the principles that he talked about in this book. But I just do want to say that I wasn't charging anything crazy when I first started, you guys. But now that my demand has increased, now that my information has increased, now that my influence and my reach have increased, I have a higher demand and can now charge higher prices. So it gives me more leverage to negotiate with companies, with brands. And honestly, when I give my pricing to a brand and they say, okay, that's great, I honestly feel some type of way. I'm like, okay, I probably could have charged more. I much rather charge higher and have a company negotiate down, or, you know, we figure out a way and kind of play the game of negotiating. Maybe they think it's valued less and I can prove to them why my price is what it is, and, you know, all of the value that they're getting for that price. And sometimes they will pay that price. And so negotiating really is a battle of the minds. And I think that in this year, that has been something that I have really tried to practice a lot more. I am still working on my negotiating skills. Obviously, the more practice and the more experience you have, the better you get. So, but yeah, I think I have done a really good job at getting the ball rolling with it. Next lesson I learned is starting small and focusing more on the small impact that you want to have. I started Erin on Demand thinking that I was going to be helping small businesses create videos to put on their website or their social media. And I just wanted to help businesses in the Metro Detroit area. I didn't even foresee helping, you know, large corporations, businesses based in other states. I have traveled for work, and it has really opened up doors that I didn't expect. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I was starting small, and I really wanted to make an impact on a local community level first. I think sometimes we can start too big and say, oh my God, I want to be the biggest singer in the world. And I'm sure like Beyonce, you know, started with little local competitions. She probably sang for her school and was the best singer at the school, then the best singer in her city, then the best singer in her state. And then people started to know her worldwide. And so I think that when we focus on, I want to be the biggest star or the biggest whatever in the world, that's a great long-term goal. But what do you want to do like for your community and on a smaller scale? And once we can kind of master and tier out, then I think we have much more leverage and a higher chance of making the type of impact that we want to have. Then also like celebrating those small wins. So for me, like I celebrated everything. When I hit 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, when I gained more Instagram followers, when I signed my first contract, when I booked my first consultation, when I had, you know, when I got new gear, or when I just all of those little things that seem small, but honestly, those small steps really push you forward. So the next thing that I have learned is to be diligent with my money, but not to adapt a scarcity mindset with my diligence. And so I know that may have gone over some people's heads, but I do always say it is best to be smart with your money. It's best to save. It's best to err on the more cautious side when it comes to what you're spending and how you're spending. But also it's important to not adapt a mindset that you can't invest in certain things. You can't splurge on certain things. And so really learning how to prioritize my finances and adapt a wealth mindset when it comes to money. And one of the examples of like scarcity mindset that can really kind of manifest in really small situations or at any point in time, even if you are wealthy. One example that I have is, so there's this video of Oprah and she is at this glasses store. She's picking out different frames because she always wears fire glasses. And she's like, do you like this one or this one? And she's like swapping between these two frames, trying to figure out which one she should get. And then after a while, she's like, wait, I can just get both. Like, why am I trying to decide? I can literally buy both. Oprah could literally buy that whole store, that whole franchise. Like, literally, she could just buy probably the whole city so that the store was in. That is what I'm saying with scarcity mindset. And she kind of addressed like those things still creep up sometimes, even though she has an abundance of wealth that she can afford to buy all of the glasses in the store, literally. So that's what I'm saying, is like trying to just break through those financial scarce mentality things that sometimes are passed on from generations, but I think we kind of just impose on ourselves as well. The next lesson I learned is over-delivering. And by that, I mean just over-delivering in value, whether that's through YouTube, whether that's through a strategy call I'm having, whether that's through doing video content for a client, whatever it is, just really making sure that I am over-delivering in my attitude, being positive, being on top of follow-ups, being on top of, just staying organized with the project and making sure that my client has the best possible experience. So over-delivery is so important. And to me, it has really allowed for repeat clients because they know that they're getting well worth what they're paying for. And the last tip, my favorite tip, is writing down my top 3 priorities for the day. Really changing my approach to time management has really changed my life and changed the lives of so many of you guys. I love seeing you tag me in your top 3 posts. So I definitely would say one of my biggest lessons this year is, setting doable goals and not overkilling with feeling like I have to be doing so many things at one time. That really helped me to focus on what I am doing and to do the best job at it and to move on and focus on one thing at a time. And if you think about it, if you got 3 things done every day for 5 days a week, that is 15 tasks in 1 week. And so just think like how much that actually is. And my life is a testament, this year is a testament to the top 3 and how effective it is because of how much I have gotten done this year alone. And so this was really my first full calendar year of entrepreneurship. It has been a freaking blast. I am so blessed. I'm so thankful for everything that has come my way, for everyone I have met through this year of entrepreneurship, for all of you guys who watch my videos every week, who follow me on Instagram, who just are so supportive. You guys leave the best comments. You guys are just amazing. I have shown myself that I am super strong and super bomb and super just confident and such a go-getter. And I have always known those things, but I think entrepreneurship does a great way of magnifying some of the qualities that you have, whether those are good qualities or not so good qualities. And if you want to be a part of my internet home, you are welcome to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you are alerted every time I upload. I upload every Wednesday and some Sundays, and I love you guys. I really hope that you continue to learn as much as possible through your entrepreneurship journey. And I want you to leave a comment below of what is the biggest lesson you have learned throughout your experience as an entrepreneur. I'm so excited to read y'all answers, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.